couple of other quick things. The Stokehouse burnt down. Should we do something special with that piece of land?
Well,
It's Crown land.
I don't know that I've ever been there, and maybe I'm one of the few. I don't know. A lot of Victorians have gone there, and it was a very special venue for weddings and all sorts of other parties. It's not cheap. I don't think I've ever been there. I think it's pretty special when you've got a restaurant that employs 80 or 100 people. I think it's been quite odd today that Matthew Guy's been out there saying, no, we shouldn't replace it as a restaurant that employs 100 people. We should be doing something else with it. Any restaurant that employs that many people and is as popular as this, well, maybe that's a special use of that land. I found that jarred with me a little bit.
In the studio with me, the opposition leader, Daniel Andrews. Good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Is there I'm wondering if there's starting to, I know you were talking about 24-hour public transport on weekends, but I'm starting to wonder if there's a safety issue on transport as well.
Yeah, well, certainly that caller's that's a very unfortunate set of circumstances. That sort of antisocial behaviour is not on. Look, I think there are a range of different issues trying to get the message out as much as we can that behaviour is not on. Also supporting Victoria Police so that they can have the best possible response, transit police and PSOs as well, I suppose, in the evening. But we're really talking about these sorts of incidents and perhaps a rise in them, an increase in them during the day. So,
but you're now supporting PSOs, right? You didn't initially, but you do now.
Well, look, we've always recognised that the Liberal National Government have got a mandate to put this policy in place. We did, I think, find some fault with the way they rolled it out. Not thinking that you might need to put a toilet on train station platforms if you're going to have PSOs there. But some months ago I made it very clear that under a Labor government there'd be no change to the current PSO policy, and that's why under Home Safe, Labor's plan to run 24-hour public transport on Friday and Saturday nights. PSOs will be in place just as they are now until the first of the morning.
So they'll work through the night?
That's exactly right.
The $50 million, it's going to cost you that for the year, is it?
Look, we think that it may come in under that. We've been very, very conservative. We've done our homework. We've talked to experts. I want this to be real, so we've been very cautious in the way that we've costed it out. We think a trial's the best way to go. This is a massive shift, Neil, to provide 24-hour public transport across Friday and Saturday nights. It's what our city needs. It's what communities need. It's what workers, but also those who are out having a good time, enjoying everything our city has to offer. It's what visitors to our city want. But we think that such a big shift, the right thing to do is to trial it for a full year, not to do a desktop review and rely on some very highly paid consultant, Neil, but rather let's let Victorians vote with their feet.
And the staff are happy to work through the night?
Well, I've spoken with the union and they see this as the sort of change that we need. So yes, there'll need to be additional train drivers, there'll need to be additional PSOs, other staff, but we're confident that with it, we're giving ourselves 12 months to do this. And then a trial that'll run for a full 12 months. It's what we need, Neil. Getting Victorians home safe. So better public transport's an important part of that.
At least in part, this is about violence in the city, is it?
Well, I think that if you talk to the Salvation Army, you talk to Victoria Police, you talk to the Lord Mayor, you talk to all sorts of different stakeholders, people who've got a view on these things, and many of whom are absolutely experts, they say tens of thousands of people spilling out of venues, unable to get out of the city in a timely way. That's a recipe for not all, but a lot of that late night violence.
Wouldn't it be fair to say that more people use the trains or public transport during the day, and they'd rather have better services than putting the money into nights?
Well, it's interesting. I see Dennis Napthine saying that this is not what people want, and it's not a public transport priority. Well, I think you can do both. If you're careful, if you're thoughtful about this, if you understand that better public transport is about maintenance and the basics, it's about building Melbourne. The Melbourne Metro, which doubles the size of the City Loop, and we made some commitments about the detailed planning for that last year. Mm-hmm. The notion that people need better services in the day shouldn't exclude you from being creative and delivering.
But can you afford both?
I think that we can. Again, people will need to use these services. That's why we're having a trial. I'm confident they will, because it's the big gap in our public transport system at the moment. It makes sense. I think that Dennis Napthine's wrong to say that people don't want this. I think they do want it. I think they'll use it. And at the end of that 12-month trial, we'll look to enhance it. We'll look to make the changes to make it an even better 24-hour public transport network now.
If we've got a security issue to some extent on the trains in the middle of the afternoon, though, what's going to be like at 3 o'clock in the morning with a train load of drunks?
Well, look, we would speak with Victoria Police, we'll speak to Metro, we'll speak to a whole range of those.
You can't have policemen in every cabin.
Well, whether you're running services during the day or the night, you can't do that. Mm. You can try and mitigate risk, you can try and send out the right messages, you can have the right penalties in place, but ultimately it's up to people to to do the right thing. You've got to respond though, and I think what you're getting through talkback callers and through anecdotal evidence, and I certainly get it too, that there is an issue in terms of not just on stations, but families, people running on the actual rails and not always feeling safe.
Talking Melbourne.